Sabrina, thanks. The UN this week issued a report on Afghanistan, and it indicated Al Qaeda is sending more operatives there and opening new training camps. It also said that ISIS-K has managed to infiltrate some of the Taliban ministries and also push into Central Asia and is even running a special ops force in Iran. How concerned is the Pentagon about Al Qaeda and ISIS-K operations out of Afghanistan? And what, if anything, at this point, is the Pentagon doing to push back? As a second unrelated question, has the Pentagon been impacted at all by the AT&T breach that was disclosed? If so, what is the Pentagon doing to mitigate?
Thanks, Jeff, for the question. On the AT&T breach, I'm not aware of an impact to the department, but of course this is developing in real time. So if there is an impact, we can let you know on that. When it comes to ISIS-K and just the proliferation of ISIS, not just in Afghanistan, but you're seeing also throughout Africa, it is something, of course, that remains top of mind for the United States, which is why you have our mission in Iraq and Syria to continue that fight against ISIS. It's something that we continue to monitor, and whether it be from AFRICOM or CENTCOM, it's something that we take very seriously. So, of course, we're concerned with any proliferation of any plots or plans against U.S. service members or our partners and allies around the world, and it's something that we're going to continue to watch. All right, I'll come back in the room here. Yes, and then I'll come over to you, Sai. Yeah.
You said that the surge of aid had saved lives. It's estimated that the amount that was unloaded into the marshalling area was the equivalent of 1 day of pre-war aid delivery into Gaza. Of that, then, do you know how much actually reached the people off Gaza? Whose lives were saved? How many?
So in terms of, so maybe I can explain to you our role in distributing aid and then what USAID's role and WFP and the UN is. So what we have done is facilitating the aid getting into the marshalling area in Gaza. Once it gets to the marshalling area, it gets distributed out by WFP or contracted drivers that USAID has been in close coordination with. It goes into distribution centers within Gaza and then gets further distributed out. I don't have a count for you of how many lives have been saved, but what I can tell you is that people are hungry. There are people in need of that food. And we delivered nearly 20 million pounds of food to the people in Gaza. So we are saving lives. I think it's important to remember that. And what you saw with our forces is running towards the problem. We created a solution. We believe it was a success.
Just one other follow-up.
Sure.
Did anyone at the Pentagon research summer Mediterranean sea conditions before embarking on this project? There's a sense that you were taken completely by surprise, and in fact, the JLOTS is completely unsuitable for the conditions off the coast of Gaza.
So we are a planning organization. We have folks all around the world that operate within the Eastern Med at any given time. Of course, we are aware of the sea conditions within the Eastern Mediterranean. We are not shying away from the fact that there have been higher sea states that have at times disrupted delivery of aid and have made it harder to get aid in. But I would say to you, and on some of these questions, to do nothing would have been a failure. To be part of a solution, that's success. And that's what you saw with our personnel delivering that aid into Gaza.
Well, there's been inquiry now as to where this $230 million of taxpayer money actually went and whether it was worth it and the decision-making process behind it.
I think it was worth feeding people who needed it most. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Aaron, and then I'm coming over here.
Just kind of a follow-up.
Sure.
How many days has the pier been functioning, like getting aid off the pier onto land?
I believe it was a total of 20 days since it was anchored on in mid-May.
That it's taken food off of the pier and delivered it onto shore, 20 days total.
Mm-hmm. Well, two separate things. So the functionality of the pier, it's been operable for about 20 days. You have to remember that aid started to move when we moved the pier back into a few weeks ago back to Ashdod. There were those contracted drivers that started moving aid out of the marshalling area into distribution centers because the marshalling area was essentially at capacity. So that was happening while aid was not moving off the pier because there was essentially, it was pretty full, but there wasn't a need to necessarily move aid in at a rapid pace. Great, yes.
Thank you. How does the